Did you know about this dark day in Muslim history? July 11th, 1995 marks the Srebrenica genocide, where over 8,000 Muslim boys and men were killed. But how did this happen? With the fall of Yugoslavia in the 1980s, many states gained their independence and formed separate countries, which were mainly driven by the religious majorities. Serbia and Croatia declared independence and then received recognition from the United Nations. Slovenia followed, and then Bosnia. However, Serbia had other plans. They wanted Bosnia to be part of their country. And what followed was a war that lasted over 3 years between 1992 and 1995, and home to one of the worst genocides in modern history. In April 1992, merely a month after Bosnia gained their independence, the Serbian army surrounded the capital, Sarajevo, and bombed the city with artillery. Bosnia, now a newly formed country, didn't even have an army to defend itself. The UN stepped in as a peacekeeping force and created safe zones across the country, but refused to provide Bosnians with weapons to defend themselves, citing they didn't want further bloodshed despite the Serbian army's continuous bombing. Over the years, Bosnians fled to these safe zones, one being Srebrenica. With pressure mounting from the international community to end the war, the Serbian army pushed one last offensive in Srebrenica, separating men and boys, some as young as 12, from their families and killing them in cold blood. In the course of a few days, over 8,372 men and young boys were killed and put in mass graves by the Serbian army. Some of these graves are still being discovered to this day. This genocide was driven by the aim of ethnically cleansing Bosnian Muslims and to create a nationalist Serbian state. Despite the genocide being well documented with photos, videos and mass graves full of evidence, it was not officially recognized by the UN until earlier this year. The UN failed the people of Bosnia and Herzegovina, betraying the very reason it was created. This is a grim reminder, echoed today in the ongoing conflicts like Palestine. Today, you can visit the factories where the massacres took place and the memorial for the 8,372 boys and men that were brutally murdered. Every Muslim needs to visit this place and learn about what happened here. It's crucial in understanding our history, the suffering our fellow Muslims have been through in the past as well as the present, and to do everything we can to stop something like this from ever happening again.
In today's video, we're taking a deep dive into some of Bosnia's most important historical sites. We'll start off at the Crime Against Humanity Museum, where we'll explore the difficult experiences people faced during the war. Next, we head into Srebrenica, where we'll have the chance to meet a survivor and hear their powerful story firsthand.
He was all around walking here when he was in jail. When coming take a Serbian army, the people all put here. Yeah. Which one put? And he's circling here every day when he's wait for go to Tuzla.
Finally, we'll end our journey at the Tunnel of Hope in Sarajevo, a secret passage that has become a lifeline for the city during the siege. This is going to be an emotional and eye-opening journey, so join us as we explore these profound reminders of courage and survival.
And we made it, guys. We made it to the Museum of Crimes Against Genocide.
So here we go. History must be remembered. So the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina started in April 1992 and is ranked amongst the most brutal in human history. Wow, 200,000 casualties in this war, 120,000 civilians, over 2 million people displaced, and 657 concentration camps. 30,000 people are still missing to this day. You know, the crazy thing about this, when you think about it, right, it's a genocide that was committed at the end of the 20th century in the middle of Europe, did in November 1995. And if you think about it, it's crazy that after World War II, after Vietnam War, all this stuff, still all this going on, even though we've said that we'll always learn from history, we'll never let it repeat itself, but here we are. Happened in the 90s, is happening in 2020s in Palestine as well. We as humans, we just can't seem to learn from our mistakes. So we just spent the last, I'd say, an hour walking around the various different rooms here in the museum. It's quite actually deceptively big. There's like 5 rooms, all with different stories.
The country.
I know, Zakaria, there's so many different things that happened. I mean, this is just a handful of stories across all the hundreds of thousands of people that were mercilessly and brutally killed by the forces coming in. Some of these stories are just unbelievable. Like literally, there was a story of a guy who owned a gym in the local area. Over 1,000 people trained at the gym. One day these people were his friends, trained with him at the gym, and then they became soldiers and they ended up killing the owner of the gym. It's crazy, you know, little things, stories like that dotted across all the whole country when this war happened. And there's videos playing back the documentary and recordings of the actual genocide itself, of the soldiers killing individuals and shooting them in the back of the head and stuff. It's quite graphic. But yeah, I would definitely recommend coming and here and getting a view of the story behind the genocide here.
So guys, we've just come out of the museum and I have to say there is loads of stories inside. What's going on right now in Palestine, you've not got an excuse to turn a blind eye to it because it's literally been live streamed from your mobile phones. You know, you can't turn away from something like this. We must all stand together and we need to do something to stop this from happening because no innocent person, no children, no people, no men should die because of greedy governments. And it was only earlier this year that the UN actually have recognised that it's actually a genocide that took place, even though they were meant to be the peacekeepers at the time.
We've just arrived into Srebrenica now to explore the town, and like I said before, it is Jummah, and I think we've made it just in time for Jummah namaz because it's 1:10 and I can hear the azan going off now. People over there are doing wudu, so maybe I can make my wudu very, very quickly, then read Jummah namaz. So just finished up on reading Jummah namaz. Met some brothers there from the UK as well. Part of Yasin tours that are here as well, so it's nice having a little catch up with them. But it just so happens where we read Jummah namaz is actually at the memorial. Got basically the memorial here, all the kind of names of the 8,700 people that lost their...
8,372.
Look at you, factual facts.
Says it on that square there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it all looks like they're all in alphabetical order as well.
Yeah.
You can see they're all Muslims' names.
And Zakaria's got himself a nice little flower there, haven't you,
Yeah.
Baba Nocho?
It's purposely built around the prayer function as well.
The great thing about this place also is it's very wide and open, it's not that busy. Plenty of room for Zakaria to have a little run around as well in the afternoon because we've been in the car for about 2.5 hours, well actually 3 hours door to door with a little stop.
So we're just in the complex right now, walking towards the factory where the genocide took place.
Oh, your family from Bosnia here?
Yes, it's Bosnian.
So was your family here when everything
Yes,
happened?
here, my grandparents and uncle.
The people here in the Serbia territory,
Yeah.
do they treat Muslims differently or is everyone okay?
It's a conflict. It's Muslim, Orthodox,
Christian,
Jew, and the multi-ethnic.
still conflict with each other, yeah?
You see their buildings?
Yeah.
Yeah. His was on back side. You not see from here. You have there one more factories. Is there
Yeah.
something like this. His was all around walking here when he was in jail. When coming take a Serbian army, take a people all put here.
Yeah.
Which one put? And he's circling here every day when he's wait for go to Tuzla. What you see here, you have all cameras here this way. Here coming all buses.
All right.
Yeah, and coming is there was Serbian army, and they said, you come in this way, you come this way, you come this way, you come this way.
Okay.
How does it feel
How
to
did
be
it
back
feel
now?
He's feeling scary,
Yeah,
scary. You
still
know,
a bit
when you come in.
traumatized.
Take care.
Have a lovely day.
That's
very
okay.
much.
Thank you very much for meeting
Thank
us.
you, brother.
What I got from the conversation, this person, he was 12 years old when they basically got brought here, and he said the stories about when you're coming in, groups of people are coming in here, and the Serbian forces, they were basically separating everyone from like the young men, sometimes children from like the age of 12, 15, because depending on like how developed you are at that age, and they were saying, all right, you're of military age, so they were splitting these people up from their family, putting them in different areas. And this person said he saw it with his own eyes, you know, taken to other parts and never to be seen again.
So you were saying there was like an area down that side where they used to keep the young boys that looked quite developed and strong. And then I think the men and the boys, they used to go in that memorial centre there, which is closed. I think that's where it's got all the pictures of all the people that died.
It's amazing, man. This is the Bosnian experience. Like everywhere that we've been so far, the person that we just met now, Usman, is the kind of energy of the Bosnian people, despite everything that they've gone through, despite all the losses, despite all the hardships in recent years. We're not talking about the early 1900s, we're talking about the 90s, mid-90s, but still happy, smiley, positive, getting on with life, not, you know, wallowing in self-pity that this happened to us and that happened to us. And I think there's something about the suffering of people that they go through that Allah puts this kind of like peace in their heart almost afterwards. If this was anywhere else in the world, if this was any other religion, from my experience, you find that people are quite bitter, negative that happened to them. But the Bosnian people in general are very, very like happy. They're very open. They're very smiley, very welcoming. This guy's given us his address and said, right, just come to our house when you're there in Australia. Who does that these days, right? So I was just saying that we didn't get into the memorial centre because it closes at 4. So FYI, if you're coming here, get here before 4, maybe like 2, 3 o'clock, give yourself a couple of hours to walk around. So this is the memorial here in Srebrenica, commemorating the people that died in the genocide here. There are hundreds of other war memorials across the country, but we're going to go to Sarajevo and show you some important places there. Specifically, one area that we're interested in visiting, and that is the Tunnel of Hope, something which the Sarajevo people saw as a lifeline during the war. I don't know if excited is the right word, but really looking forward to understanding the history behind the Tunnel of Hope.
Told by that lovely guide that there is a halal restaurant 3 kilometers down the road, Ashanisha, I think that's how you pronounce it. But we're gonna go there, we get some spotted lunch. We'll explore a little bit more, but let's go and get some lunch.
Darwin, let's go.
Crazy thing is now, when I'm searching for restaurants to eat, it's got Belgrade, Serbia, I've got Croatia coming up, I've got Montenegro, so we must be on the border of everything. But yeah, the name that he said, Ashtanica, it's coming up, but Konzo is the one that he said is further back down the opposite direction where we wanted to go. We've made it, guys. Right, guys, we are making our way to the restaurant. Here you can see there's a lot of Serbian flags right in this area, but you have a halal restaurant.
There's not many halal restaurants in the area, we're told by that guide. So luckily we found them and they directed us to the right one.
Right, people, my food has arrived and it looks absolutely epic, mate. Look at that. Chicken. Pretty average. Let me try it with the breads, see if that makes any difference. Okay, yeah. The bread's given. I'm gonna give that a 7 out of 10.
So the food isn't too bad. It's grilled chicken, obviously, pita bread, and it's got a bit of a salty, buttery taste to it because they've grilled the bread. I'll have half of it, so I didn't get too much. But yeah, overall, I mean, 10 marks. Can't go wrong with it.
I think
One thing that Bosnia does so well is the quality of the ice cream. Even the Mr. Whippy style ice cream is very rich, creamy, proper ice cream, not just like whipped cream like you're starting to get in the UK. For now, we're going to head into Sarajevo, check that area out.
look at the walls. You can still see the bullet holes, signs of war that happened in the 90s. Good morning, guys, from beautiful morning here in Sarajevo. We are just making our way now to do a war tour around the city. This is our taxi.
Next up on our tour has been coming to the outskirts of the city of Sarajevo to see the Tunnel of Hope, which played a massive, important part to the siege of Sarajevo. It's called the Tunnel of Hope because it's here where a 800-meter long tunnel, 1.6 meter in height, 1 meter wide, was basically dug out to basically connect Sarajevo city to the outside world during the siege of the Sarajevo city in the Bosnian War. It was a top secret project, so only the people that were directly involved in the construction of this knew about it, and it was codenamed BD project because the name of the areas where the entrance of each side of the tunnel started with B and D, so that's how it was codenamed. Basically, the place that they chose the entrance of the tunnels was unsuspecting houses that were close to the airport, and the local family that owned the house, the Kolla family, basically gave up the house on this side for these war efforts. It's through their generosity that Sarajevans were able to get supplies into the city, and also the Bosnian army were able to get arms from the outside world into Sarajevo city to defend themselves. The UN decided they'll implement an arms embargo because they didn't want a lot of bloodshed. But that's a whole different other story. It took 4 months and 4 days to build. Everyone that was involved in the construction was either paid a kilo of wheat per day or a packet of cigarettes. And as we know, in wartime, currency is not really used as a mode of buying things. It's usually stuff that you can trade, and cigarettes were highly sought after, and the local tobacco factory was at full capacity, and it was almost like a central bank producing cigarettes as a currency for the locals to trade. We started off the tour around here watching a 17-minute long video which had zero narration to it, but you could really get a feel for, you know, the hardships that people faced during the time of the war. And there was clips of people using the tunnels and some of the construction, which was really, really interesting. A video like this can't do it justice. You have to actually come here and view it yourself. You can see the airport literally right around the corner from here, and one of the reasons why they chose this location was because the Serbian army could not attack this area because the airport was under UN mandate, and if accidentally the Serbians dropped a bomb near the airport and it misfired, and then there would have been a full-on kind of another world war actually. So yeah, that was one of the strategic points of using a house that was really, really close to the airport. I don't know if you can see it, there's a Ryanair flight right there. So now we're entering a new version of the tunnel, which we were basically told is nothing like what it was before. This is like a space shuttle, but it was kind of built in this way, and this is a sample model, and you've got all the people that were involved in the construction of this, but you can see some of the conditions that they had to basically push the stuff through in the tunnel.
I'm non-siege area, it's Butmir. Butmir always had the road on this side to Croatia. Supply, logistic, other things, drew 200 kilometers over the Igman. Kolar house at the time, it was the nearest one to the airport. If the Serbs shelling, bombing and miss, who is the next target?
The UN,
UN peacekeepers in the Bosnian War, they had a mandate to defend themselves definitely, and they could ask for the air support. For Bosnians, this house to the other Bosnian territory, it was the shortest way to digging a hole under the UN as well, under the airport. And third one, Kolar house, according of this side to the Serbian forces, it was the last one of excavation, 800 from Dobrinja and Butmir, 2 meters under the surface. The next one, tunnel slowly moved down, depth of 800 was under the runway, and it was 5 meters. It was one engineer who led all the project, the guy who made the many calculations. Tunnel, origin one, never didn't collapse, never. But sometimes we have to close the same one. It was temporary, but tunnel has to be closed. The sign, some explosion happened, someone killed, red color of the blood. And it's Sarajevo, one of the Sarajevo road. United Nations precisely knew about this one. You can just hear sounds of the car. The same road at the time used the UN vehicle. 5 meters of the entrance. But this hole for them doesn't exist. They knew, but they didn't have mandate from the Security Council about this one. They are keeping open eyes closed.
So I guess that was one thing the UN did good, and that was keep their mouth shut about knowing where the tunnel was.
And that's it for today's journey. I hope this video gave you a deeper understanding of these events and the strength of the people who lived through them. If you found this video as impactful as we did, please give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. If you like the video, you'll probably like our last video where we uncover the events that led to World War I in the city of Sarajevo. And for more real-time updates, follow our TikTok and Instagram. And remember, stay curious, follow your visions, and we'll see you on the next one.